Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of We Watched a Movie. It's Ben here,
And Jackson.
and we just got through watching My Sex Robot, and we are going to talk about it now.
It's... where do we even start, man?
Okay, I think the crux of the issue with this, and it's a documentary, so just to give a little bit, we should probably do a general kind of...
Okay.
It's a documentary about sex robots. I mean, that's pretty much,
People who are interested in sex robots.
the meat and the bone of it. Right. It's, you get one guy who's interested in it. Or, well, you get a couple. You get like 3 different guys who are interested in the concept, okay? Let's put it that way.
And then 2 guys who are actual inventors, like they try to create sex robots.
They're actually working on models and trying to make it a reality.
With varying degrees of success.
Right. And then you kind of just follow all of those people through, like, and the framing story of having the one guy go and meet with the 2 inventors. They should have had that, I think, a little more pronounced. Yeah. Because I didn't realize that framing story was going to be in there until it happened.
It kind of segued a little
bit.
Yeah,
but it could have been a little more of the driving force behind the movie, I think, if you were going to do it. Because it seemed like they kind of tried to divide their framing story between that dude and the other guy who was ashamed of it. And like trying to and him talking to his friends and everything. If they were going to continue this at all, I'd almost like to see them go back in a few years and talk to both of those different guys individually. Yeah. And then maybe even do like a separate one, a third one that's like just the inventors, and finding out how far along they are, if they are even attached to the project at all or anymore or whatever.
I think it was made in 2011, 2010, so that's been 6 or 7 years. So it'd be nice to see the progress or lack thereof that they've made on it.
Right.
How do you feel about the first guy?
That guy, actually, the first guy was the one who you follow to go meet the inventors, right? Yes. Yeah, that guy actually, strangely enough, again, and I think I said this while we were watching it, I said that I was identified with that guy more. And I did. And most of it, and this is kind of also where the rubber meets the road for me on the discussion about the topic itself. Because I've had some pretty horrific past relationships. Yeah. And have come out of those and have had, emotional and psychological scarring as a result. And certainly to me, I have thought of the idea of a sex robot, of a partner who is robotic. And I can relate. I can understand. Because there is that lack of risk. There's almost like a guarantee of no rejection, of no, they're not going to leave you, they're not going to just, randomly wake up one day and decide that they need to walk away from it or whatever. So I mean, there is that, and I can relate to it, but at the same point, yes, there's still going to be certain aspects of a human interaction that are not going to be part of that, no matter how good the technology. If the technology were such that, like a T-800 model Terminator level sex robot were to be able to be, right there. I mean, and it looks, or a Cherry 2000 or whatever, it looks like a human, it acts like a human. It is, for all intents and purposes, except for the fact that it's a machine, a human. There's still going to be certain aspects to it that you don't get,
True.
The fact that there is no risk. I mean, there kind of has to be risk.
The second guy. I'm stuck between, like, just kind of being numb to the entire concept, because I've seen this documentary more than once. The way the guy phrased, like, how he's advertising the robot is, she can't say no to you, and that was just kind of a...
No, and I get that.
Like, off the bat.
Yeah.
And the other guy said it was kind of like, it's as close as you can get to slavery without being slavery, but I guess it's okay, kind of.
But then again, those are kind of those eternal questions of, artificial intelligence, robotics. Are they a machine? Are they an object that you can buy, purchase, sell, trade, do with whatever you want with? Or is it a recognized being that we give certain rights to?
I feel like once it becomes sentient or like mildly aware of its surroundings, it should be protected, just because at that point it becomes able to make a choice, and at that point no longer have say over what it can or can't do because it's able to make a choice.
All right, but let's say just for as an example then, that if it's if it's just on the edge of Uncanny Valley but it still needs programming, does that make it different? Is it then now
It
a
makes
machine?
it different on the sentient rights side of things, but at the same time, I feel like it just kind of boils down to people are kind of told from an early age that a relationship is kind of like a romantic relationship is the be all end all, and if you don't have this, there's something wrong with you. And I feel like definitely in the past couple of years, I've definitely seen this uprise of people who are like, all love is valid love. You should be okay with yourself first. I can't relate because if I can't find a partner, I'm cool with being alone. Like, get a cat.
Right.
Like, that's not the be all end all. I have people to hug and talk to and have emotional responses to. So I think it's just kind of, our society has this really weird way of putting so much emphasis on a romantic relationship, like saying it's kind of like the most important thing in your life when obviously it isn't.
Right.
So I feel like instead of making sex robots, how about address the root cause of the problem, which is society's role in shaping pretty much everything we do and how we see the world.
What if you go hand in glove of the actual creation of sex robots with that movement towards therapy and help of self and society, of recognizing that you know, having a relationship should not be your end all be all of your existence, but at the same point, sex robots and the like in order to help those who need a crutch, if that makes sense.
I guess at that point it'd be just kind of like the same vein you would take as legalization of weed and alcohol and any other controlled substance. Just
Right.
kind of
Fair enough.
create it, regulate it, government fucks it up, the end.
Right.
So I feel at that point it'd just be kind of a commodity, which would be a completely different issue.
Yeah. Also, I know somebody in that. I won't say who it is, just
Yeah,
because
that
I don't
threw me
want
for a
to like.
loop.
But yeah, I knew
They're
somebody
like,
in this
"Hey,
documentary. You know, they
everybody
weren't
in the
even like
room
really
except for me."
majorly in it. They just kind of were off to the side. And it's like, hey, I know that person. That was interesting. But at any rate, it's an interesting documentary nonetheless.
It's a lot to handle.
I think that, you know, if you are interested in human psychology and robotics and futurism and you know, anything of that nature in any of those areas, definitely check it out.
Or if
give
you
it a
just,
watch.
like-
It's actually on Netflix. Is what we watched.
It's on Netflix. Or if you just like really, really cringeworthy, terrible things.
That too. Those two guys, the guys who were actually working on the robots, to me they seemed like the Steve Jobs and the Bill Gates of sex robots. Like those
Except-
guys, I guarantee you those guys are going to be big parts of where sex robots go.
I'm so
And
stressed
keep
because
an eye
that
on
means
those
a movie.
guys.
That means like a Steve Jobs movie-esque type thing
a
involving sex
the
robot
inventor of the sex
inventors.
robot. But and this is the beginning, sex robots. Well, that was
Well,
sex robots.
My sex robot. Watch it
my
on
sex
Netflix.
robot. We'll catch you next time, and be sure and like, comment, subscribe. Check out our stuff over here in this box, and we'll catch you later.
Also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you very much.
But-
That sounds like. Okay.